When I left the building, I realized that it was hard to breathe. My heart was pounding furiously, and it took some time to come to my senses. I wondered if she was watching me out of the window. Luckily, I was standing under a canopy. I was standing for way too long. Suspiciously long. Trying to keep a steady pace, I walked away from Catherine's house. I felt better among other people, away from her. Why did I react like this? Yeah, I didn't want to think that Catherine would have made fun of me this way, but she'd changed so much in over a year and a half. She really wanted to warn me about something. The note mentioned my father's work. I doubt Katya had anything to do with it, but her mother... Ooh. I slowly walked away from the ever-busy center of Tokyo, and soon skyscrapers gave way to small houses huddled together. It was quiet here, as always, and more importantly, it was serene. Catherine wouldn't have liked it. Maybe she just wanted to take revenge on me? But why would she invite me to her apartment and try to explain something? I still couldn't fully believe she was the one to write that note. And what about the call? The voice had been clearly male. Even if I assumed that it was all Katya's idea, what, was she an evil genius with a gang of henchmen at hand? Of course, everything could be much simpler. I could be simply overthinking it and making absurd assumptions. But then why had my life been going its normal course until just a week ago? And now everything was going down the road to hell. Still, this day would soon end and a new one would begin. A few people on the streets walked with smiles on their faces. Sunday was possibly their only day off in the entire week, so why would they be happy about going to work tomorrow? If I were to rethink the flow of Japanese life from Catherine's perspective, everything would seem much more depressing than I usually saw it. Was that really enough to treat me like she had? I only reached home an hour and a half later. It was stupid to think that Himitsu was waiting for me. Inside, there was only silence, even more deafening in contrast with the outside, where the evening birds sang their songs. I walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and froze in something akin to delirium. What next? What was I supposed to do? How was I supposed to live? The note. I stormed to my room and took the note out of the drawer. Yes, the handwriting was definitely the same. There was no doubt that the note had been written by Catherine. I didn't even care for the why of it anymore. The only thing I wanted to know was why me. That's still a why though, dude. Why was she doing this to me? Why did she keep doing this to me? I still couldn't shake off the thought of our conversation in her apartment today. She just didn't resemble a sadist or a spy. What if her handwriting was faked? But what for? I continued coming up with theories, all based on my extraordinary importance. Maybe mostly because otherwise it meant Katya was doing all this out of resentment towards me, maybe seeking revenge. I didn't want to believe that. I simply couldn't force myself to. The ringing of the phone sounded peaceful, casual, but I flinched out of habit. It wasn't even evening yet. It seemed a bit early for assassins, spies, or any other dissidents. Hello? My voice sounded unnatural even to myself. Nick, are you alright? Why would Michael need me now? Never better. Well, if you say so. He continued after a short pause. It wasn't in his character to pry. So you didn't forget anything? No? What am I supposed to have forgotten? We were planning to go to the cinema. We were? I really didn't remember anything like that. Maybe we actually did. Most likely at school. He asked and I agreed without even realizing what he was talking about. These days I only thought of one thing. Yeah, right, you know. Let's go another time. I have a headache and tomorrow we have classes, so I didn't even want to come up with a believable excuse. In a situation like this, Michael would be as tactful as possible no matter what. Alright, see you tomorrow then. So long. I hung up and stared at the front door. I could have asked her what was going on. I was pretty sure Katya wouldn't have killed me there and then. Suddenly I felt that I was missing something. A tiny detail, a trifle that was necessary to put this puzzle together. Or was it all just a dream? At the time, 1.5 years ago, I often imagined that nothing had changed. I'd wake up the next day and everything would be the way it used to. Catherine hadn't gone anywhere. We were together and loved each other. And everything that had happened in reality was just another nightmare. It turned out that my nightmare went on to become more horrifying with every minute. And not waking up at all would have been the better option. I could have tried to find consolation with Himitsu, but after yesterday... And then suddenly, I felt better. If only someone could see me now. What a pathetic sight. Yeah, I've always been prone to agonizing over my thoughts, but I never sunk to the point of self-pity, to this disgusting feeling that manifests when you think that the entire world is to blame and everyone else is against you. A car stopped at Himitsu's house. Her father was back. And this already happened today. Recurring events. There have been too many of them during the past year and a half. The same day, every month. The same day every year, year to year. And in the end, a noose hanging from the ceiling of a 6 tatami room. Although I wasn't sure I'd even managed to properly hang myself, tall as I was. Things continued on the same course, even Himitsu would have enough and leave me. So life itself was pulling me out of the putrid swamp by my hair and pushing forward along the yellow brick road. With my companions, the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, perhaps Toto as well. I wonder if they would have liked the comparison. But in order to move forward, you have to make decisions. For example, talk to Catherine about the note. But not today. Today I was too tired. Sunday night was descending upon Tokyo, a night that provided a chance to get that final bit of fun before Monday. The craziest and most desperate fun. Yeah. So half an hour later, I stood at the doors of the familiar bar. Inside it was loud, filled with smoke and reeking of booze. It's normal for the Japanese to have a drink or two after work when hanging out with friends or on a date. It was considered acceptable, sometimes even obligatory. What kind of corporate event would it be without eating and drinking? The only problem was that most of them had little to no tolerance for alcohol. 2 or 3 beers were usually enough to take them out, call a taxi, or carry them home on your back. That's why I didn't like drinking with the Japanese. No matter what, in an hour's time you were left alone. At that point, you're just wasting booze. Oi, Goya. The bartender's greeting reached me through the noises of the crowd. He peeked over the heads of the people at the counter. Why had I chosen this bar and come here so often? Couldn't say it was close to my house, and the bar sort of resembled a Soviet Ryumachnoya. Definitely not because of the bartender. Why not? Why not because of the bartender? Look at that handsome man. Hey there, what can I get you? No, for whiskey. Double whiskey. Whoa, something happened? Yeah, life happened. I see, so this scene still kind of plays out the same, huh? Is it that bad? Worse than usual. Fuck, what had happened at this point in Kagome's route? I don't entirely remember. Huh. I'd love to hear about it, but work is aplenty, as you could see. He smiled apologetically, poured me a glass, and was about to take the bottle away when I stopped him by carefully grabbing his arm. Leave it be. I'm partying tonight. Goya, do you know how much this whiskey costs? Okay, yeah, we're just running the same shit over and over. We've seen this. Come on. Okay, yeah, the reintroduction of Arena. That's right. Okay, so Arena is still introduced the same way as before. Gotcha. Okay, good to know. Good to know. My parents and I were returning from a countryside trip. We wanted to see the Japanese outdoors, observe the sakura blossoms. My father talked non-stop, but I wasn't listening to him. All my thoughts were centered around Catherine. We hadn't seen each other much over the break. I wondered if she missed me. I sure did. Mostly, I think, because I could stay at her place till late, as Miss Winters would usually come home long after midnight. So we could sit, lie, and stand, in the bedroom, guest room, bathroom, or even the hallways with walls thin enough to hear the neighbors walk by. Are you listening to me? My father shouted. I had other things in my mind. And then I woke up in a hospital. Bruises, abrasions, and a broken arm. Things could be way worse. Maybe if I had been listening to him. What the fuck happened? People always say it's better to sleep on it. Bullshit. Especially if you couldn't actually sleep the whole night. In this case, trying to sleep on it didn't help at all. Could barely think straight. In the past 8 hours, I managed virtually everything. Being interrogated in the confines of the KGB, being exposed to ancient Japanese torture by people from the corporation. What? Oh, I'd imagined. Okay. Just being executed by a single shot to the head. Why are you bringing in the corporation? Oh, wait. Did Arena mention something about the corporation then? Because I'm like, up until this point, no one's really mentioned the corporation. It was all wrong. A human being can't feel fear constantly. At some point, the mind's defense mechanisms kick in, and you simply stop caring about anything that might happen to you. And unexpectedly, I realized that I was worried about Himitsu much more than about my own life. She was the closest person I had, meaning that they could get to her as well. Catherine? Her mother could protect her, and somehow I was confident that she could take care of herself. A weak and cowardly person wouldn't have written that note, wouldn't have cared about someone other than herself. Was she really worried about me? A pleasant shiver ran through my entire body, a sensation I had seemingly long forgotten. What if she had her own circumstances I simply knew nothing about? Yeah, that seems to be the case, my dude. And then, Could I lose her too? It was incredibly difficult to answer the who do I love question even to myself. Really? I think it's pretty easy. Especially in my current condition. There's one thing I knew for sure. Both of them were important to me, if you say so. Now more than ever. I rolled to my other side and looked at the clock. Still pretty early, but I no longer had the energy to stay in bed. I could try to fall asleep, but Irina had given me clear instructions to behave as usual, which meant not skipping classes without a good reason. A hangover could be one, but I simply didn't have enough time yesterday to reach that point. Wobbling and grasping at the walls, I managed to walk to the kitchen. Coffee would be nice, but I never liked it, so I never had any at home. I only had tea and aspirin. Surprisingly, my head didn't ache. I sat down on a chair and came to my senses. Only a minute later, I'd been staring thoughtlessly in front of me. Complete exhaustion. Maybe not coffee, but I definitely had alcohol. Just a couple glasses would make me sleep like a log. Irina's fierce expression surfaced in my mind. Good thing she believed me. Although she didn't want to. She thought I was hiding something, lying to her. God, was this really happening? I pinched myself until I bled. Oh, Jesus, dude. Nope, not a dream. Somehow, hot tea brought me to my senses. Was it time to prepare for school? Although I didn't really have anything to prepare. My homework wasn't done. I had no idea what classes I was even supposed to have today. Days were becoming shorter. It would have already been light outside at this hour a week ago. I was slowly walking the familiar route, occasionally looking over my shoulder. But not too obviously. Someone could be watching me. Someone probably was. That's what Irina had said. So the KGB were around the corner. There were corporation goons behind the fence and Japanese counterintelligence in the bushes. I smirked despite myself. People say you can find a positive side to any situation. I had once started to write a novel, then dropped it. It was about love, sure, but what would stop me from adding a detective subplot? Yeah, imagine like a detective story, but also like it's kind of focused around love at the same time. That's crazy, right? Here's something positive about a poor student becoming prey to the powers that be. A Soviet-Japanese student. Like a mini Tom Clancy. Except I have a submarine to give to Americans and thus escape. I walked into the classroom and sat behind my desk. Was I the first in class today? Probably for the first time in my life. It wouldn't take long for me to start volunteering to go to the blackboard, get straight A's, and hang myself in the Hall of Fame. Unless, of course, someone would hang me first in a less crowded place. A head of red hair appeared in the doorway.
Nika-kun, are you here?
Imagine that, I responded loudly. Why are you sneaking around? Nobody's here yet.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Himitsu laughed and walked to my desk.
You weren't home this morning.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep and decided to go to school early.
Good.
She smiled cutely.
Good that you decided not to skip classes.
Me? Skipping? I would never do that. I'm determined to become a straight A student and get into the top 10.
You're, probably exaggerating.
Fine, the top 20 then. Himitsu took a little parcel out of her backpack.
Here, bento.
Thank you. I was truly moved. Whatever happened in my life, only Himitsu's feelings towards me remained the same. Feelings I neither appreciated nor deserved. I wonder what would have happened if back then No, I didn't want to know. Not at all.
Are you okay? You look a bit weird today.
I told you I didn't sleep well. Himitsu looked at me suspiciously, but clearly couldn't find a reason to pry further.
Well, alright. Are we going home together?
What about lunch?
I can't make it this time, sorry. I have something to do with my classmates.
Well, alright. See you then.
See you.
She smiled genuinely again and walked away. What did I even need a Catherine for? Right? Pop off, homie. Students gradually started to fill the classroom. Many of them gave me surprised looks. Then I expected to see Anakin this early, or at all. Paying no attention to anyone in his path, Kyosuke breezed into the classroom and started to cheerfully greet all the guys. Michael calmly sat behind his desk and opened one of his books. Thought that I should probably ask him at some point what it is he reads all the time. I was constantly looking at the clock. There were just a few minutes left before the bell, but... And here came Catherine. She passed by, saying nothing but a short, "Hi." Couldn't say she looked normal. Didn't even know what normal was for her anymore, and what wasn't. I didn't know anything about her. Didn't know her. The conversation with Irina and this whole spy thriller business shifted my mind away from Catherine and my never-ending romantic indecision. But I knew perfectly well that the main source of agitation for me was not the note itself, but the fact that Katya had been the one to write it. Of course, there was a chance she'd written me with good intentions. She might have wanted to warn me about something. But really, it was like we were playing a goddamn game of charades. The lesson seemed to last forever. I wasn't listening to the teacher at all, focused on my own thoughts. I had to decide what to do from now on. Keep my head down, act normally as per Arena's advice, trying to find something out as per common sense. Maybe I was just a student, but I didn't want to trust other people with the right to determine my destiny like a cow on a farm. If I was lucky, the BB gun would break and I'd be allowed a couple extra days of grazing. Or maybe they'd handle me the traditional way, knocked out with a sledgehammer. And though I had no one to ask about the KGB, there was someone other than Ellie I could ask about the corporation. What? During lunch I approached Michael and offered to eat together with him. Great, let's go. Kyosuke had been hovering nearby, apparently waiting for the right moment. You know, we have something to discuss. He looked at me with surprise. Adult stuff? Not anime. You wouldn't understand. Screw you. Michael didn't react to my somewhat strange behavior in any way. I found a spot behind a vacant table, but Himitsu bent in front of me and waited for Michael. Soon he returned with a tray in his hands, took the seat opposite from me. Pretty quick today. Yes, almost no queue. Lucky you, he said calmly, pointing at my bento. Yeah, happens. I grinned like an idiot. The canteen was too noisy, so I proposed we finished our food quick and went up to the roof. How was your weekend? Not quite as planned. What happened? Movies. He replied briefly. Oh, yeah, sorry. I get it. You must be having a lot of problems. What makes you think that? It's pretty obvious. Obvious, is it? I'm like an open book to you. So what do you want to talk about? You didn't invite Kyosuke. Something serious? Still undecided whether I could trust Michael, and if I did, then to what extent. Of course, telling him the whole truth would be a mistake, but if I wanted his help, I had to at least give him a general idea of the situation. Your father's work is related to the Kobayashi Corporation, right? I'd say his company is just a business partner. What do they even do in this corporation? What kind of business? Michael looked surprised. What kind? All kinds. It's a transnational company, remember? They work with virtually everything, from stuffed animals to satellites. Well, that was already clear. Okay, what does your father's company do? Construction. What kind? Civil construction. That was close, but not quite it. I doubted my parents were killed over a poorly designed bridge. Got it, thanks. Should I even ask why you're interested? Probably not. I can ask my father something if you want. How was I supposed to respond to that? If what Michael said was true, it was unlikely that his father was connected to the corporation's shady dealings. No need. I don't think it will help me much. Nick, if you're involved in something dangerous, it might be better to talk to... He went silent for a second, remembering my family situation. An adult? Yeah, right. Adults haven't helped me much lately. In fact, adults had dragged me into this. I hope you know what you're doing. Me too. With the conversation seemingly over, Michael was about to return to our classroom. I'll hang around a bit longer. You go ahead. Sure. He shrugged. I wonder where Catherine had her lunch. I never saw her with a bento and didn't recall her ever cooking herself. I started to feel sleepy again. Luckily, the canteen had coffee. A few gulps of the nasty sour swill woke me up in an instant. Just like Japanese people had a low tolerance for alcohol, I had a relatively low tolerance for caffeine. My heart was beating so hard it felt like I just run a 100-meter dash. Walking through the school corridors, I felt almost safe. After all, this place had too many people to... To what? Irina had told me that a resource that possesses information is a valuable resource. Therefore, it would be worthwhile to increase my value, hence my chance of survival by obtaining information. I returned to the classroom and was interrogated by Kyosuke almost immediately. So? What? How'd the lunch go? Fine. Good for you. He made an annoyed face, clearly expecting me to apologize or at least feel guilty. Let's talk about this another time, okay? For the rest of the day, I could only think about one thing. To be more precise, about a number of things that had recently brought variety into my life. May you live in interesting times, was it? I felt uncomfortable knowing that Catherine was sitting behind me. What if she was staring at my back all the time? What was she thinking about? What was she doing? Maybe she was writing another note. Drinking that coffee was a mistake. Could have slept during class. Doubted anyone would try to wake me up. Such behavior was the norm for Nikolai Anakin, and fighting it was as effective as jousting windmills. Irina told me to behave normally. If only I knew where the border of normalcy was drawn. Class was finally over. The crowd at the shoe lockers was full of happy chatter. Some were about to go to the movies, some to karaoke, and some on dates. I changed my shoes and walked into the schoolyard, stopped for a minute, felt infinitely alone as I watched students quickly walk past, paying zero attention to me. Like a yellow leaf in a river, caught in a piece of wood. I wasn't the only one in this position. Catherine was standing at the gates, clearly waiting for someone with a bored expression on her face. She wasn't looking in my direction, but I wasn't moving either. Simply because I didn't know what to say. Not to mention I outright hadn't slept in 2 nights and didn't have the mental energy to come up with something sensible to start a conversation with. I wasn't just afraid to approach her, I feared to even appear in her line of sight. Was I afraid she'd notice me? Was I afraid to simply walk out of the school gates, leave that safe territory? Finally, a car stopped near Catherine and she got in. Since when was Catherine picked up from school like that, I wondered. Not everyone here had a personal driver. I couldn't remember Mrs. Winters doing anything like that before. Could she be in danger too?
Nika-kun.
Himitsu's cheerful voice came from behind me. I flinched in surprise and turned around.
How's the bento?
She asked, running up to me. Very good, thanks. I wouldn't be able to say that what had been in it, even if my life depended on it. It definitely had some rice, though.
How's your day?
Very tiring. I wonder if she saw me stand there, staring at Catherine. What about you?
Wonderful. We were getting ready for the school festival. Our class wants to make a cafe.
For a second, she fell silent, embarrassed.
Do you think I'd look good in a maid outfit?
I'm sure you would.
Will you come by? We'll have cupcakes and shortcakes and layered cakes, and I'm already practicing cooking them at home, but I'm not letting you try any yet, just in case.
Himitsu laughed and now looked absolutely innocent. So much so that I found it hard to look at her.
What's your class gonna do?
For the school festival, you mean? As if I knew. We're putting on The Prince and the Pauper.
Really?
No.
Hey!
Really? No. We haven't decided yet. Graduation class, you know, exams and all that. I lied. Let's go? I took Himitsu by the hand and left the schoolyard, looking straight ahead.
Nika-kun?
She weakly tried to protest, but her hand didn't let go of mine. Himitsu kept telling me about her class's plan for the school festival, but I wasn't really listening. Why was Catherine picked up by a car? God damn it, homie. Who cares? Wow, I'm impressed. It took 45 minutes for me to get pissed off again. Man's walking home hand in hand with Himitsu. It's this nice little moment, and it's like, so why was Catherine picked up in a car? The fuck does it matter? My guy, I get it. You're a bit suspicious because you're like, she wrote that note. She definitely wrote that note. But it's like, she got in a car. Like, who gives a fuck? I don't have the energy to get fucking pissed. Wait, no, he said something more. I read the car part. Was that a one-time thing, or will this happen always from now on? Has it not been happening? Clearly you haven't been paying too much attention to Catherine. For all you know, it has been happening. What the fuck do you know? She couldn't not have noticed that yesterday I was basically in panic when I fled her apartment. Katya was a smart girl and would probably draw the right conclusions. To add to that, whatever reason she had to leave that note, Catherine clearly knew more than I.
Hello, Earthen Nika-kun.
Huh? What?
You're sleeping on your feet.
Himitsu said kindly. That's exactly it.
Maybe you should have stayed home today after all?
Yeah, tell that to Arena. Nope, definitely shouldn't have. Definitely not today.
Why not?
I looked at Himitsu's beautiful surprised face and knew what I had to do. I had to tell her what happened yesterday. Because she too could be in danger. Because she was the only person in the whole wide world whom I could trust. I love you, I said seriously. She stopped and froze with an expression of utter shock on her face.
Nika-kun?
We need to talk. I need to tell you something important. Himitsu's expression saddened. Strange. I'm sure she'd be glad about the confession.
Why do you say this now? It's not true.
Let's go. We'll talk at home. She followed me limply, automatically, her head cast down.